Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Mary and I'm a painter and designer and birdwatcher and bagel maker living here in Canada. In this video I'm going to swatch my watercolor collection, most of it anyway. This is all the paint that I've bought in separate pans and in separate tubes. So everything that comes in a pre-made set I haven't included here. But all the stuff that I've bought individually, you'll see swatched in this video. I'll put the names and brands of each color on the screen, so you can just pause if there's a color you really like and the name will be there. But I just figured that I would talk while this is happening. That's one of my favorite sorts of videos, the kind like you don't really need to watch if you don't want to. Not like it's trying to be a podcast or anything like that, but that you can like sort of dip in and out of watching it and just have it play in the background. I like these sorts of videos for when I'm painting or I'm drawing, so I hope that you guys will enjoy just sort of sitting here with me. While I'm filming this voiceover, I actually have to stay up late, which is hard for me to do because I'm basically a grandma. I'm not a grandma, but I love going to bed at the same time every time, like, or early. Early's nice too. Ever since I started my full-time job, I've become such a, like, I don't know, I'm not a morning person, I'm not really an evening person. I don't know if I'm an anything person, but I'm definitely not a night owl anymore. There were times when I would just stay up till like 3 or 4 doing stuff. I can't do that anymore, but I have to stay up so that I can pick up my partner from work because he finishes at midnight, and that's it, which is fine. I used to stay up till midnight all the time. I don't know why this is like, I want to go to bed now. But yeah, I don't know. Watercolor is a medium that I use frequently, but I always find that I gravitate more towards gouache. And I'd like to do an updated gouache tour, I don't know, collection, updated gouache collection. So if you're interested in that, please let me know in the comments down below. If it's not really something that you're interested in, that's fine. I just want to know before I set about filming it and figuring out where all my gouache is at, because it's the gouache ends up split between two art desks in our home. So figuring out like which one's mine and which one's Finn's, and like is there a point of separating them at this point? Like, is it just like our gouache combined? But my watercolors I keep pretty like contained. They have a little cute pouch that they live in that I got from Emily Cheeseman, who's a great illustrator. And yeah, I have a variety of brands, and I don't really like feel that one or the other is my favorite compared to others. I like them all for certain reasons, so it would be very difficult for me to rank my favorite brands. I don't think I'll ever do a video like that, like ranking them, like which one's my number 1 and which is my number 2. Because I don't have enough of an array of each brand to make that decision. My feeling is more just based on pigment load, on the behavior of the paint, and it doesn't really matter what brand it comes from. You're still focusing on the color itself, and yeah, like it's less about who made this color, like who ground this pigment, than it is like just about what the pigment is. Like even a tube you get from a brand can change if you bought the same color like 5 or 10 years ago to the new tube, the new formulation. Even time can have effects on paints. You know, it's encouraged to take care of your paints. Make sure they're in sealed containers, of course. They'll dry out otherwise. But certain paints can even go bad and go off. So, I don't know, using your paints and taking care of them is important, but also like appreciating what you have and not tossing it when you don't need to, I guess. All of my tubes of paint that I've ever thrown out are just ones that are literally super empty, or sometimes the caps break. Oh, that drives me so mad. Like sometimes the caps, and this has happened to me with multiple brands, so it's not like any brand's fault. It happens quite like most often to me with Gram paints because of the high like honey and gum arabic content. Like they're super gooey and sticky. But sometimes the top of the cap will shear off of the part that actually has the threads. And then you're basically stuck like having to retube your paints or put them in a jar or something like that. Like I've done that before. I've retubed paints, but it's kind of a pain in the butt and it's messy. And of course a broken tube is messy too. I think I lost one whole tube of Gram's neutral tint just because the cap like shattered when I tried to open it one day. Probably because I put it on back onto an already messy sticky tube, because I take good care of my things, but like art school happened and late nights happened, and sometimes things would bust open in the bottom of my backpack because I'm carrying like all my art supplies to school and back. Fun times. But yeah, I didn't really like neutral tint anyway. I don't think it was very neutral. That's my opinion. It's not neutral, it's purple. Neutral tint is purple. Yeah, anyway, moving on here, I guess I'll talk about some of the colors in this lineup that I really like, and we'll see if I can get the editing to like match up with the color I'm talking about. That would be cool. But this quinacridone violet is super cool. It has really cold undertones, but this really awesome magenta like body. So when you thin it out, it gets sort of like frosty, and it's a very highly staining color, very like dye-like. And that one it's just gorgeous. And like, I don't even know what I want to mix it with. I don't know what it's for. I don't paint flowers. This would be a great flower color, I'm sure. Beets, it'd be good for beets. But usually I use it when I'm playing around, when I'm just having fun making like rectangles or doing monochromatic paintings, and it's a gorgeous color. It makes me really happy when I use it. And a lot of these colors are like that. Like I buy them because they make me happy. Like all of my Daniel Smith Primatech paints, like I have a problem. Like every time I go into the store, I buy myself a new one, which is nice because Daniel Smith does the small tubes, which is great because I don't ever go through a full like 16-ounce tube of watercolor. I totally will with gouache, but with watercolor, like I don't use that much. So I like buying the smaller tubes, and then that way that's also more affordable. So like, why don't I buy myself Bronzite Genuine, which I've bought myself. When am I going to use it? It's just like glitter, brown glitter. I love it, but like, when am I going to use that? I have a few sort of specialty colors that you'll see at the end, and I hardly ever use them, like the duochrome Arctic Fire, and I have an iridescent ultramarine and an iridescent electric blue. Like, those are paints that you're never going to be able to reproduce because they're glitter, right? It's about how the light catches it. So you're really only gonna use that paint for things that people are buying originals of. And even then, I feel like, I don't know, I once submitted a painting to a competition when I was just in high school. Like, I wasn't that good, but it had like all this interference pearl acrylic on it. Anyway, it didn't win anything. I submitted it in this like sparkly fantasy painting. Actually, I feel like maybe not watercolor because that's water soluble, but like the interference acrylics, those would be really great for doing like embellished prints. I've seen artists do that, and I think that's a really cute idea. think I saw someone, they did like, just like mermaid catfish, and they like embellished the scales with iridescent paint. I don't know, that's cute. Or maybe maybe it was shark cats. Cat sharks? Mermaid cats. Something like that. But yeah, another color that I really like is the quinacridone gold from Winsor and Newton, and like it's not a single pigment quin gold. I don't think I've ever touched a single pigment quin gold. This is 3 pigments, but it's really beautiful, and you can get such a variation of hue just with 1 tube of paint. Like you go from this rich like burnt caramel to this really light like tea color yellow just with 1 tube. When I found out that watercolor could do that, because gouache doesn't really do that, it has binders in slightly like denser quantities, and it has mattifiers too, so like you don't get that transparency that you get with watercolor because watercolor doesn't have the mattifiers. Anyway, when I found out watercolor could do that, I think that's when my problem with buying tubes just for fun happened, which is fine. I mean, art should be fun and rewarding, and doesn't always need to be about producing something finished and marketable. I like a lot of people, I feel bad when I'm not being productive. I feel really bad. But I have a full-time job. Like, I don't need to feel that way anymore. I'm not trying to make my living off of freelance. Because when I was freelancing by myself, like, basically I could not make a full living. Like, I couldn't. I was not putting enough hustle in, basically. I mean, you can put in all the hustle in the world, and freelance is still partly just luck. Who's seen your work, who remembers your work when they have jobs to give out, who even has jobs to give out and budget to have those jobs. It's sort of a lottery, and the inner machinations of that sort of career path are frustrating and disappointing. But also every time you get a job, it's like you feel like you've won the lottery, like it's awesome. Of course, there are bad jobs too, and clients that aren't ideal. But anyway, point being, sometimes I just paint stupid rectangles, and it makes me feel good. And a lot of my sketchbook is just like blobs and rectangles and leaves. And am I learning anything technical about that? Cool. I'm not like practicing drawing faces or practicing anatomy or practicing composition, but I am learning about the pigments and the paint and the water. The more you can understand how water and paint will work with different pages, different papers, different inclines to your page. Like, I work on a desk that's at about a 5-degree slant. Like, it's not very big of a slant, but it makes a difference. It makes the pigments pool closer to the bottom, which gives your washes a little bit more weight at the bottom of them. I can fudge this, I can make it go away and stuff, but anyway, point being, learning about the medium is never really a waste of time, and even if it doesn't look so pretty or look so marketable, just spending time with water, with sort of the elements of the artwork you're creating, I don't know, you can get into sort of a really nice flow state doing that. Anyway, these are all the paints that I have, minus a couple of palettes. And I hope you enjoyed just this little hangout. And if you have any questions about any of the paints that I swatched in this video, feel free to ask me in the comments below. I'll do my best to respond. After a certain while, like, certain video comments stop popping up in my feed, just because the videos get old and stuff. But if this is recent, if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. And I hope you have a good night, day, morning, whatever it is where you are. Thanks for watching. Bye!